Let me now welcome David Chaum, who's going to talk about Better Than Money, full investments in interfungible assets you choose. And so with that, David, welcome on stage.
So, why would somebody who invented electronic money 40 years ago be standing here telling you that we need to replace money? Well, it was different back then. I was a grad student at Berkeley. I realized that information technology would profoundly change the world, and the privacy of the individual was key to maintaining individual sovereignty and autonomy. And the only way to protect privacy in an informational world is using cryptography, secret codes. And so at that time, the head of the National Security Agency of the U.S. government said that it was a federal crime to even talk at a conference about secret codes, let alone organize a conference or a session. And he said he was going to throw the full force of the federal government against anyone who would do this. And so being a graduate student and knowing how important cryptography and privacy protecting electronic money would be in the future, I did the natural thing. I organized a conference on cryptography, and I risked spending the rest of my life in jail to set electronic money with privacy and cryptography free. And it was very successful. It was a major conference now. And today, the world's very different. There's two giant elephants in the middle of the room, right? One of them is, in my view, income and wealth disparity globally. This is at the root of all kinds of problems. And when you notice that we don't have the feeling that prosperity is growing, people start to cede power to centralized authority. And we saw that in the last century, and it was very, very ugly. And now we need to find a way to deal with that. And the other elephant is, of course, the reason we're all here. That's AI. But if you think about it, if we cede power to central authority, then they will naturally use AI to secure their position. And this would mean that a centralized world will become irreversible, because we all know how even the primitive AI that we've had in the last years has been so successful at manipulating public opinion and beliefs and even values. And so AI can irrevocably change humanity to support it. Whereas what we need to be doing is changing AI to help support us by helping us create economic growth for everybody on the planet. In a world of increasing prosperity, in the last century, you can see it. Proponents of democracy are empowered by this. People vigorously defend democracy when democracy seems to be failing because it's not providing increase in economic prosperity. People turn against it. It's natural, but it's a big problem. So how do we solve this all? We need something that's better than money. What is that? That is a way to do transactions, a medium of exchange that lets us move from assets from one person's portfolio of assets directly to another person's portfolio of assets. This is not just a better old thing. This is a really new thing. Okay, it took me a year to figure out how to really do this. It's quite under the hood. It's pretty sophisticated, but to use it, we'll see it's very, very easy. So it's essentially, a smartphone app, and you have your portfolio of assets there, and the little donuts represent the amount that you're going to transfer, which is taken from your portfolio. It's a sort of miniature version of it. The diameter, the size is the amount of value, and then we have to get it over to the counterparty, and then it can sort of drop into their portfolio. So sort of change the colors and the ratios, and that vertical line is showing us that we don't want to reveal who our portfolio and stuff to the counterparties, right? That we need a privacy barrier there, and we don't want who's involved in transacting with who to be public either, or ascertainable by others. We want user-provided privacy there. So zooming in, it's a little more clear here that we take the individual assets, a little bit of them, build a small version of the same portfolio, somehow transfer it over, and then we have the little portfolio in the recipient's proportions and asset types, and drop it in. Well, what would those assets? What kind of assets am I talking about? Well, the exchange-traded fund in the last 2 decades has gone from 0 to 10 trillion. It's 10% of global assets under management. It's an astronomical growth, and interestingly, BlackRock did it to do well by doing good. That's not an easy thing to do. They did it to help people, ordinary people, be able to invest like the rich people. Okay? And so what I'm talking to you about today is similar. It's a way to do well by doing good. Make no mistake. And it's better than money. 6 ways to Sunday. Okay? It's better for future payments. Look at the World Bank. They make loans in special drawing rights, right? In a basket of commodities, have for years. Why? Because a future payment is much better denominated in a basket, because then you can be more confident that you'll be able to repay it, or that you'll be interested in having it repaid. But this same kind of mechanism is really well suited for any kind of loan to individuals, supply chain, any kind of future payment, futures contracts, which are a significant part of the real economy, if you know about this sort of thing. But for markets in general, more traders is more better. Crowdsourced information, according to Condorcet's theorem, it just gives you better information. That's what markets want to know, demand and all that kind of price discovery stuff. So it's great for markets and great for the individuals involved in them. For investors, it's great because you have a lot more flexibility. It's 24/7, etc. But you can rebalance your portfolio automatically for free. So if you're a trader, and you want to go a little more heavy on gold, then you have to pay fees, and you're subject to costs because of the spreads and so on. So here you can avoid that, because you can just tell your software can automatically sort of receive in one portfolio and send out in a different one, and it'll automatically morph your asset portfolio for free. So that's cool. Systemic risk. I mean, that's the whale in the middle of the room, right? This is something that we're seeing. We're on the edge of that. We saw Silicon Valley Bank. We saw GameStop. I mean, just huge. If the system crashes, it's over for the poor and middle class. Rich people don't care. It's actually good. They go on vacation. They come back, buy everything up cheap. right? But so this is a real danger to the commons, what the governments are supposed to be protecting. And so this is an asset-backed. There's no money. There's no one to go bankrupt, so it's all good. We obviate systemic risk. And if you think of someone who is living in a developing country or is poor, but they have a smartphone now. That's not everyone is poor, believe me. But let's just imagine a person like that, and we say, look, you can't hold money anymore because it's a bad deal for you. You never get ahead because you can't really, it's inflationary. It might go it might vaporize. There's risk, and you're never able to invest and accrue wealth. Put your money in an asset portfolio, and you'll start to accrue wealth. And so now we have a lot more people participating in creating a growing prosperity, and that bodes well for democracy and inclusion and participation, and can really save us. So let me just show you a brief video of an app. It's a mock-up and it's a real app of what we built we've been experimenting with the user interface to show how easy it is maybe to use this sort of thing. I'm going to push this button again. There you go. So, you're looking at it in dollars. Now this is just showing some features. You could go to dark mode or light mode. You'll see later why that comes in, but it has, it's just a standard smartphone app, very well suited. It's not too complicated. I think you'll see it's going to be fun to use. So you want to view your assets in some other currency. Let's say maybe how about Ethereum? Oh, maybe I've seen this movie before. So then you see now you're seeing the value of your portfolio in ETH. All right, back to dollars. A lot of people like dollars as a lens, but all these prices are proportional, right? Because of arbitrage. So say, Bitcoin. I want to change my Bitcoin. No, I don't want to change it. Tell me about Bitcoin. Well, that's always available. You can find out about these assets. And go to BlackRock's site. You can see everything about all the ETFs they have are run by trusts and all documented so the public can see. So say you want to, want to make it look a little better. You want to put the Bitcoin maybe at the top. Oh, okay, no problem. Or say you want to, get rid of a little Bitcoin, get a little heavier into Ethereum. Okay, so you unlock the Ethereum or whatever it is, and you can increase or decrease your Bitcoin, and it'll go into that one unlocked asset category, and then you can, add more. Let's say you want to add gold. Okay, neato. I'm going to add gold. So, but where am I going to get the assets? Well, I would unlock those two, so I could add gold. Those will shrink a little bit. Okay, well that looks neat. I read that's what people in Singapore are all doing that in the last 2 years. That was just in the Financial Times, I think. So, okay, great. Then, for the purpose of this demo, I'm getting a little sick of the gold, so putting it back. And I'm deleting it. I can put it back into the Bitcoin, and we'll get. So this is just showing you how you can work with your portfolio, and then you notice down at the bottom there it says history. There's a little red dot there. Someone wants money from us, and okay, now it's more or less back the way it was. But so let's see, who is that wants money from us? It's Emma, and so she wants, she sent 2 requests. So why don't I just pay her once for $35? Okay, great. So pay Emma $35. I can do that easily, just like any app, right? And then this is standard user interface stuff. But you'll notice some familiar names here. And we'll come back to that at the end. That's an important part about the, doing well by doing good. A lot of people can make a lot of money or value off of helping make this a reality. Okay, and now that's the so-called toast message. Inside baseball there, and there's Emma's phone, and I paid her, and so she got the $35, and that's the demo. So you see, it's fun. It's a piece of cake to use it, and if you don't want to make your own decisions, you just use social investing like eToro. Copy someone else's portfolio, or the AI can give you tips, and you can go with that. So how does this really work under the hood? Technically, well, I'm going to take a little bit of a dive in there. So, we only want the payer and the central entity, the issuer, to be online at the time of payment, because otherwise, it's not going to happen instantly. So we have to consummate the payment in this single interaction, but it has to be irrevocable, final, as we said. Finality is a good thing in payments, not in whether AI can take over society. Okay, end of society. Not just the end of history. So this is what we saw earlier, right? The basic concept. So let's look a little deeper. So how we do it, you probably already guessed. We tokenize each of the asset categories. And those tokens go up, and they get converted to other tokens, and it comes back down. Well, let me show you now some of the real stuff. There's other layers below this, but get the basic idea is that the transaction occurs in two parts. There's the instant finality between the two online parties, the user and the issuer, okay, and that goes through. But the money is all locked up, and then it's also the C money, but the issuer knows that it has the value because it has locked all those other assets, and we'll see how it can do that. And then in the second phase, the recipient says, okay, I'm here, I want to unlock this, I want my money, and boom, they get it, everything's cleaned up and done. Now that's oversimplified. Let me just, before I show you how, more deeply how it really works, just tell you a little bit about eCash. It's a number that's worth money, right? You create the random number, you blind it by encrypting with special homomorphic encryption, send it into the bank, they sign it with a signature that says this is worth $1, give it back to you. They don't know what number you chose. So they have to keep a list of numbers that you've spent. They can't take your money away, they can't see where you spend it, but to prevent you from spending it twice, they keep a list. That's the original eCash, okay? Well, but you can always reveal who you paid, but no one knows or can take your money away from you. Okay, great. We have the same privacy properties, but better in eCash 2.0, which was implemented by IBM for the Bank for International Settlement and Swiss National Bank, and we demoed it at the Parada plots at the last 0.0, works beautifully. There's a subtle difference, which is really key to how this all works, and that is instead of just keeping your number secret, the money number that you made up, you send it in by an untraceable mixing network, XX network. I hope you're all familiar with XX network. Send it in, and that way it can be posted. So now we have a ready-to-spend list. We don't keep track of already spent stuff. We just have the ready-to-spend list, so all the assets in the system become transparent. Everything that's issued is public, and when you want to spend it, you have to show a number that when you hash it, it yields that published number. Only you have that secret pre-image because you created the hash of it. Okay, but here's the magic. This is something I invented like 20, 30 years ago called fail-stop signature. You use a hash function that has an extra 200 bits of input. And that means that there's 2 to the 200 secrets that could unlock that published number. And even with infinite computing power, no one could ever find out which one you chose because they're all equally likely, even Martians. It's mega, mega secure. It's infinitesimal probability that someone could could steal your money. So any kind of compromised system so it's very strong against counterfeit. This quantum resistance stuff's a bit of a misdirection and hype. Someone's going to make a lot of money off that, but someone's going to be able to read a lot of traffic too. So now how do we use this? Well, those coins there, those little doodads are the tokens, and you see each column is one of the assets, and so each asset provider has their main pool, but they also have two other published pools that are the buffers, and one of those, but they're both, the issuer can lock them, but it can't actually steal the money, so it's not really joint custody, and the issuer can also mark the stuff in the pool. So let's just take this is as deep as we go here. So this is the whole trick of how it works in a little more detail. Your CI money, the issuer knows it will be accepted because it's in the CI pool. So they just mark that as already going to be spent, and now they have the C money for sure from the provider's liquidity buffer. So then they can go and create value for the issuer J that the recipient wants their asset to come into, and then that's locked with a hash so that only the recipient has the key, because that was in with the request for payment, and so then when they come back online, they can unlock it and they get their money. So if you want to make money on this and you want to see this grow and you want it to scale, it scales fantastically, because no matter how many, if you have the full 10,000 EDFs in there, even if some of them are slow, go offline, do bad things, it doesn't affect the performance of the overall system, because the only thing that's real time is interaction with the issuer. So it's a beautiful thing. But it also scales in a couple of other directions, and you can see that. So for instance, commercial banks with their current licenses could synthesize this product for your app. And it would look like it was working, and they'd be making it work for you. And similarly, the blockchain could provide the blockchain type stuff globally to anyone. But there could, and it's surprising, but it's a great thing. You could have actually multiple issuers, and shown up there, and then for each type of asset, you could also have multiple. So it becomes extremely robust and competitive. So let me just answer a couple of real important questions real quick here. Yeah, it's a breakthrough. This isn't not a better old thing. It's a really new thing. It promises to replace a $2 trillion industry. That's what McKinsey says the global payments industry takes. That's $2 trillion worth of friction. You take that out of the global system, you've got a lot of more prosperity. Is this hard to build? Do we still see some breakthroughs or some law changes? No. The legal infrastructure's there. The asset, the ETF people got, it's all there. The technology's been proven out by IBM. We issued eCash 1.0, 20 years ago. So we can do this, right? There's no real impediment to doing it. Would it mean the end of money? I think that's the wrong question. I think, I would say good riddance to money. Money is a bad deal for poor people, and it's caused tremendous wealth inequality, and that's at the root of most social tensions we have today, if you think about it. And this is unnecessary now with this breakthrough. We can just get rid of it, and we can, like the Beach Boys said, we can, have a real good time doing it. So, making real good bread. So, if you look at central banks, they can still set the interest rate, by being a low-cost provider because they have unlimited liquidity and trust. And so, yes, if it's deployed globally, this will certainly dramatically reduce wealth inequality and create a growing prosperity, which is the basis for hope and people not giving up everything to AI, but rather trying to use AI to help them with democracy. And if you're interested in democracy and AI, you can meet me over at the book thing, because I've got a little book that I wrote about a whole thing about that, and I'm be signing a few of those for a few people that get over there. So, anyways, pleasure to be here, and thank you so much, everyone. I want to say, like to say, the conclusion is global Singapore. That's what we can achieve with this.